Hello, welcome to the Powerfish Podcast. I'm Ben.
And I'm Fish. And today we are going into Would You Rather questions on Reddit. We ask several questions, or look at several questions, and then see what we would rather do. And then we get to a very interesting question that we spend quite a bit of time on. And we think it'll be interesting. We really got there in the end. But this is going to be a long one, so buckle up for that. We will see you on the other side of that. We'll throw you into that now.
We're starting off with, would you rather experience endless night or endless day? Endless night or endless day?
I feel like that answer's, at least to me, is pretty easy to answer.
If it were me, I think it pretty easy. I would say endless day.
Right. Because...
Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, because, I mean, they say it right there. They say there'd be nothing to keep plants alive. You know?
Yeah, and sunlight is just good.
Yeah, it's good for you.
For humans.
I mean, in one sense... That's the thing, and this is...
There's no photosynthesis going on with that.
Yeah, we need to photosynthesize. Because on one hand, right, you can always, if you need darkness, you can always create, like, a room without a window in it, or put curtains up, or whatever. What you can't do...
Manufactured darkness is more legit than manufactured light. Like, we can't manufacture sunlight, but we can manufacture the absence of it.
Right.
And it would have the same effect. So yeah, that's I think that's a pretty easy.
On another note, though,
easy
have
conclusion.
you heard of, was it Alaska? I don't know, but some place that has like days and days of darkness or something like that.
Antarctica?
No, it was
darkness.
You not heard of this?
No. I know the poles have lots of light. What has a lot of... What the heck place on the world would have a lot of darkness? I don't really know how the sun works.
Okay, so in Alaska, in the northernmost town of the... Oh, well, hold on. Yeah, the northernmost town of the U.S., which is Utipekavik, Alaska, they experience a polar night every year, beginning of mid-November and the end of mid-January. That means that once the sun sets in November, residents won't see daylight for 2 months.
In northern Alaska?
Allegedly.
Huh.
I believe there's also light as well. There's one on the flip side of that as well.
Yeah, I know there's places that experience long day.
Yeah. So we should just ask them. What do they think about it?
Yeah, which would they rather? Endless day or endless
Seeing
night?
as they've had both, what do they like more?
But here's the thing. I mean, in places like that where it's very cold a lot of the time, like, I mean, it's not like plants are growing there in the ground. It's just snow.
Yeah. Alaskan people never, ever see grass.
There's no agriculture.
Simply put, they cannot.
They're all Eskimos, and it is exactly the same as Antarctica in Alaska. And there's nothing they can do about it.
Nothing more to say. We are...
Well, I think we can move on. That one's pretty clear as day.
What is your fucking...
Would you rather lose one arm, one leg, or in our cases, your dick?
So you gotta think about this. I think honestly, and this is a cop out answer, but it depends on your lifestyle. I think
if you're work from home, losing a leg might not change much once you just get a...
I mean, I would assume...
Get an artificial guy.
I would assume people would... if the choices were lose an arm or lose a leg, I feel like people would choose to lose an arm. Like you're like
what?
you're
No.
You don't think so?
Are you serious? I would if I had the option between if there's arm, leg, and dick on the table, all of these, I would rather lose dick and leg long before I lose an arm. You kidding me? I use both of my arms for literally every single task I do in life.
And I guess the counterpoint, to what I'm saying is leg prosthetics have only been getting better. I mean, so have arm prosthetics, but it's still...
I feel like you're missing a whole lot less. You know what? I initially just straight out went running with the dick, but I think I'm changing my answer to leg because there are people with leg prosthetics that you don't even know have them.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely affects them, but it's...
Oh, absolutely.
But it's not like the end of the world or anything. You can get a very... I don't know, like a very good prosthetic that replaces a lot of what you're doing. I mean, you might not be, well, with your like everyday prosthetic, you might not be able to run very fast, but then they make running prosthetics as well.
But here's the thing, you lose a dick, no one knows anything happened to you.
Except for people that you want to give your dick to that you don't have.
You could probably give your dick to them, it just wouldn't be attached.
It's my dick in a box. As the song goes.
Here's the thing. As long as you keep your balls, your testosterone and crap, and all your like, if you lose your balls, you're gonna get depressed to the point where you just shoot yourself in the face or something like that.
But I mean, you can, if you have no, way of producing those hormones, you can get that supplemented.
All right, yeah, I guess you could get on like TRT,
which would be a totally appropriate in that situation because you literally are not making it yourself.
Right.
So
I guess that would be fine.
I think honestly, well, this is kind of where I was going first of all when was saying it depends on your lifestyle. How old are you, and do you want to have kids still?
See, I mean, children are not a factor for me.
Right.
But so for me, I think it's a toss-up with leg and arm. Or sorry. No, I want my arm, leg and dick.
Leg, dick, right. As it is.
Some would say they're one and the same.
Yeah. Dick long as a leg, right.
The human tripod, they call me.
You know what? I might have to sacrifice giving up my horse cock.
I mean,
to be honest, it was inconvenient dragging it on the floor when I walked anyway. For me, I give you my answer right now. I would say dick. Because, and here's my reasoning. This is a personal opinion of mine. I either don't want to have kids. If I do want to have kids, I've already decided I want to adopt anyway. The only reason I would have a child of my own genetics is if my partner wanted to birth a child and wanted that experience. That would be the only reason. Like, I would obviously not say no to that. But in my ideal situation, I would be adopting anyway. And you know what? I don't know. I think having a bit of a slightly decreased sex drive and just the ability, to forego the ability to have sex altogether.
Would you though?
I mean,
would you have a decreased one, or would you just have an infinitely heightened one always?
Why would you have an infinitely heightened one?
Because there's never a release.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a biologist, but I feel like given enough time, if you just can't do something, you're just gonna figure it out, I guess. I think most men need to not focus on sex as much as they do. Full stop.
I think most people in the world.
That's probably true. I would say dick for me. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll have dick, please.
Yeah, we'll choose dick.
This podcast stands by taking dick. Or actually removing dick, as a matter of fact.
Correct. All right. All right, we've settled that one. It's Dick. Would you rather die in a random freak accident for 300 days straight or become a ghost for 4 years?
So you die.
Man,
So you
okay.
die in a freak accident once a day for 300 days.
Yeah, there's so much variability in this one. What freak accident? And what are your abilities as the ghost?
And how much pain is involved?
Let's read what this guy's parameters are here. So you remember every single time you die, and the accidents could be anything from catching a stray bullet to getting caught in a tsunami. Each day you wake up, the accident could happen at any of the 24 hours of the day, and once the 300 days are over, you return to your life, no time lost. So, okay, so the 300 days just evaporate as never happening. So the ghost, your body becomes intangible and invisible. You do not walk anymore. You levitate and are able to teleport to places you've been before you became a ghost. No one can hear you, and you cannot sleep. So you can only go to places you've already been. Okay.
Is the ghost path also time irrelevant, and then it resets towards back at the beginning?
For 4 years?
Because like they said specifically, you have no time lost with the 300 days. Are the 4 years not lost?
I don't know. It doesn't clarify.
I would assume that the 4 years are not lost. I would assume it's the same.
Yeah, let's assume the same for both.
Then I think that first comment that in that thing that we were just looking at said that you could see some cool stuff in 300 days in a row might be painful. You know what? I don't know. I think it could be cool to like.
It says you can probably do and see some cool stuff as a ghost, but you can't go anywhere that you haven't been before.
I've been to some cool places. I'll go there again.
You wouldn't be able to interact or talk to anybody for 4 years.
300 days.
Honestly,
300 days is not quite a year. It's what,
No.
2/3 of a year? Not, or maybe not quite.
So, it's over. It's over 2/3 of a year.
Yeah, I don't know fractions. I just realized that after I said that.
Regardless, dying in a random freak accident for 300 days straight, at the end of that, there are a number of things that could be. You could either become a wreck, a mental wreck, because you've literally died 300 times in freak accidents. I mean, or you could come out of it like the hardest man alive. But I feel like I feel like this is pretty clear. Both of these options suck, but becoming a ghost for 4 years, even if you're stuck to places you've already been. But here's the thing. If you learn the things in those 4 years, and then those 4 years evaporate as never having happened, I mean, did you learn anything at all?
I mean, I don't think the 4 years evaporate like it never happened. I think it's just saying that you didn't lose 4 years. It's not like you went in at 25 and you come out at 29. You go back to being 25.
Oh, so your age progression didn't happen, but
right.
Progression of the rest of the world
that's
did.
That's to keep the answer of, well, I'll take the one that's 300 days because I don't want to lose the other just over 3 years of my life that I could be developing my life. I think that's built in there to say that part's irrelevant. How do you want to spend your time? And I'm saying, like Ghost. I'm saying Ghost, like you said with the mental wreck thing. I think it's more likely that you're going to come out of that being very afraid of your own mortality now that it's over.
Or very comfortable with it.
Why would you be comfortable with it if you died so many times, but you had a reset and now your reset's gone? I don't know. I personally, I know for myself, and I know that if I died 300 different ways, 300 different times, and know how I die and all that shit, and I come out knowing that I will no longer reset the next day, I'm going to be more afraid and I'm going to be more scared of what my mortality implicates. So I would much rather just be chilling.
Can you cheat it by just shooting yourself in the head 300 times?
I would say no. I mean, I don't know that as far as their parameters go, but I would guess that that's probably not allowed.
So I think the obvious answer here is ghost.
Hey, bro, you're just chilling for 4 years. 4 years in the grand scheme of things is really not all that much time.
In the grand scheme of things, no, it's not much. But I mean, being isolated, being alone for 4 years is like there's instances of people in isolation becoming fucked up in a lot less time than that.
But I would assume that, yeah, you can't talk to anybody, and that sucks, and that would weigh on you. But it's not like people are just gone. Like, people are there. You're like Ghost. You're like spectating. You're a specter. You know? So you could like, bro, I mean, like, yeah, you could, I don't know, still be around your family, and you could still like, you know, go be out in public and shit. They can't see you can't see them, and you can't talk to them. That would still suck, but.
Yeah, there'd be like so many things that you know are about to happen because of circumstances that you would never be able to like tell people about.
Dude, I would literally just treat my life like a sitcom. Like I am the camera in a sitcom, because you can only go to certain places that you've been, but you just like, all right, I like a coffee shop. I'm just gonna sit in this coffee shop today and I'm gonna just people watch. That doesn't sound too damn bad.
That sounds pretty miserable.
I don't know. I mean,
you can do that? You can do that right fucking.
Well,
now.
yeah, but now would be a waste of time.
No one's gonna ever do that.
Well, if you were a ghost for 4 fucking years, you might, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but my point being is that there's no value in it. You're not gonna do it.
Well, there's no value to dying 300 times in a row either.
No, which is why I still think the obvious answer is
I don't know what
I
don't know what your fucking qualm with what I just said was. I'm not saying that today, right after we're done recording, I'm going to go sit in a coffee shop for 4 years straight and watch people. I'm saying if that was my only option to do so, it might not be a bad time to do it. If I can't do anything else otherwise, Jesus.
Okay, well, this one's pretty answered. We know the answer to that one.
Idiot.
Next. If you fuck me, idiot, you.
Yeah, that's what I said.
If you had to choose, would you prefer to be the best in the world in every ability and activity, or would you rather possess the superpowers of being like Superman?
Easy.
Okay. So would you rather be Superman, or would you rather be the best in the world at everything?
Yeah, that's the dumbest question ever. It's to be the best at everything.
Yeah, are you kidding? What?
That is the dumbest thing that I've ever read in my life.
Or be the best in the world at everything, or be Superman?
Because the only thing you're going to be doing as Superman is probably be contracted by the government and used as a war machine. Or,
well, if you're the best in the world at everything, you're also the best soldier in the world.
Probably. But what I was thinking was, if you're the best, you could lead breakthroughs in science and technology and shit, and you could like climb industries and just help the world that way, and like, you know, fucking solve world hunger or shit. I don't fucking know.
And then randomly join the Olympics and win all of it.
Exactly. No, that's so much. As far as an interesting life to live, being the best at having every ability and being the best at every activity is way more interesting of a life to lead. Because you can do anything. Superman, you can fly, you could laser beams out your eyes, super strong. That's cool. But you're not a fucking mathematician. You're not a goddamn breakthrough scientist.
Why does this have 177 upvotes with 234 comments? This is not interesting. What are the people saying here? Top comment, 137 upvotes. Having Superman's powers in a world without other superhumans would make you the best at pretty much anything in the world anyway. No. Anything cognitive, it sure as hell wouldn't.
Yeah.
Even things that require decades of book learning, you would be able to read, process, and memorize in seconds. Oh, that's fair. That's true. There might be some trial and error involved, but yeah, you'd be able to master pretty much anything in no time. And sports are a given. So option B. So the top comment is Superman. But okay, first of all, can Superman read, process, and memorize a book in seconds? Is that like a thing? The He's got superhuman powers, not super. I don't know if he's. I've never heard of Superman having a super brain.
Superman's best superpower: super reading.
Super reading. Okay. So yeah. I guess he can.
Does Superman? Okay, so I guess the consensus is, I don't know if he necessarily has like super reading skills, but what he does is have super speed that allows him to, like, basically in no real life time be able to process information. I still don't change my answer.
Okay. So let me devil's advocate this. What is something that being Superman would not allow you to do that being the best in everything in the world would? Aside from having super strength and flying and laser eyes and shit.
Did you meant to say those backwards?
Yes.
Okay, I gotcha.
With the addition of getting super strength and flying and laser eyes.
I don't know.
What is something that? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know of a thing that if you're the best at everything in the world, if you're Superman, I can't think of something that also wouldn't make you the best at everything in the world. I don't think. Yes, you'd be able to have a superhuman ability to read books and comprehend information really quick. I don't know if that would instantly put you in the top. Well, it wouldn't instantly, but eventually, still don't know if that would put you in the top. Being able to do that doesn't make you smart.
Right.
Is what I'm saying. Book smarts are a thing. Having real intelligence, I think, is a different thing.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. And that's why, like I said, I just don't care about super strength or flying as much, I guess. That's just not on the top of my priority list.
Well, here's the thing. If you're the best at everything, you're also the best bodybuilder and powerlifter and sprinter in the world.
So you are at least...
You automatically are going to be basically superhuman strength.
Assuming.
And speed.
Assuming that genetics carries over as far as being the best at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't change my answer. Being the best at everything and every activity is...
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I agree. I still think I'd do that because I don't want the eyes that having literal superpowers like flying and laser eyes and actual like inhuman strength would provide. So I think we disagree with the consensus of Reddit on that one. Would you rather transform into a random animal for 4 hours every day, or do a random job every day for 8 hours, 5 days a week?
I don't...
So 8-hour shifts, 5 days a week, a random job every day, or be a random animal for 4 hours every day. Okay, so let's set some of our own parameters here. Are these times consistent day to day? Are you going to be an animal that you know you're going to be between 8 and midnight every day?
I would say it's consistent, yeah.
Okay.
So this is how I initially read this. So assuming that you know when you're going to be an animal, basically it's because you got to work. I assume you're not, you need a job. So basically your free time, let's say after work or before work or whatever, is taken up by being an animal for 4 hours. Or
Pretty much.
You just work a different job every day and get paid for it, but you still have your free time. I think the only downside to doing the new job every day is like the stress of having a new job. But the problem with that whole parameter is that it's not stressful because you're not going to do it tomorrow.
You're not going to be there tomorrow.
You could fuck the entire thing up and it's fine.
I kind of think this is an easy random job every day.
I kind of think that'd be kind of fun. Your environment constantly changing. Yeah, it'd be cool to like.
But here's the thing. Random job. There's a lot of jobs with, if you don't know what you're doing, you die.
Or other people die, or
or other people die.
Yeah. I mean, there's that. Is it your responsibility to not choose that option because of the potential jobs that you need to be competent for? Oh, with the animal option, it happens randomly except for while you're sleeping. Oh, it says it right there.
It gives its own parameters randomly. So that makes the animal option even less ideal. Both options last for 20 years.
Oh, and you die for real both ways. But that also brings into account dying as an animal.
That's true. If you turn into a worm and you are in your house, basically you're dead.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many animals out there that living is a fucking...
This says there's a 5-minute warning before you turn into the animal. It tells you what kind of animal it will be.
So you get a very slight heads up.
You get a brief 10-ish minute tutorial of the job before the day starts.
Huh. Interesting. I still think I'm picking the random job. It'd be stressful, and you'd be waiting for the time where you got a really hard job, really bad job, or a very you might die job. Does being a soldier count as a job?
Yeah.
See, that would suck.
Or next thing you know, you're a septic tank cleaner or something.
Well, see, and I wouldn't. That's fine with me. If I'm doing it for a day, you know what? Fuck, like Mike Rowe, dirty jobs. That's like,
or you're an underwater welder. Then you gotta know how to not kill yourself doing that.
10-minute tutorial is not gonna cut it.
The 10-minute tutorial is not gonna do.
But
the
like,
job.
I feel like there's gonna be a lot of days where you're just working at McDonald's, or you're working at,
the vast majority of jobs are going to be jobs that you're probably going to do fine in.
Yeah.
As in do fine, as in not die.
Yeah.
That's the bar.
I would say the overwhelming majority of jobs are going to be jobs that you might just have a stressful day for whatever reason, but your life will not be at risk, or others' lives will not be at risk.
But if you do it for 20 years, 365 times 20 is a lot of, 5 days a week, so it would be less than that. But you're bound to get some dangerous jobs with that many days. Yeah. It absolutely.
But you're bound to be a worm.
Yeah, you're also bound to be, a spider that someone wants to step on. But if it's only for 4 hours and you get a 5-minute warning, I don't think that would be a problem.
Basically, what that is for 4 hours a day. Randomly, though, that's the other thing.
Randomly, 5 minutes in the day. Yeah, you'd get whatever job you have, you'd be fired from pretty quick.
So, I mean, yeah, like it'd be, if it wasn't random, it'd be tempting to say, okay, we'll just do the animal then. So let's say you're a worm. You just burrow into the ground immediately and just wait out for 4 hours is what you do.
Honestly, I think there's a decent chance that you would die in the 20 years that you're doing one of these jobs. Because there's more dangerous jobs that we just haven't thought about and they are out there, I think there's a decent chance that you would die. But I might still do that than be 4 hours a random thing.
Yeah. I think honestly, after having discussed this, if the animal thing wasn't random, I might choose the animal thing, because if it's just like you could, like, some days it might be fun because maybe you're a top predator of the day and you just fucking run around as a cheetah or some shit. But like, there are going to be a lot of days where you're a worm or a bug and you just got to go and find a hole to hide in for 4 hours. And still you might die.
To a bird.
Anything. It's, I think I'm choosing the job, man. I think more often than not, that's just going to be interesting. And then sometimes be incredibly
If you
stressful.
survive the 20 years, then you have got some stories to tell.
I mean, like,
the amount of life that would have experienced by then has got to be astronomical. I think the job is what I would choose. Are you searching dangerous jobs?
No, I'm searching. How many days do you work in a year? So you're about 260 days in a year.
Times 20.
You worked, oh my God, give or take 5,200 jobs. Jesus Christ. Dude, you've done everything. Like,
yeah, you've done everything.
and you know what? Like, you might die on one of the jobs, and that would suck, obviously. But man, did you experience everything? Like, assuming that it was towards the end.
Assuming your first job isn't, assuming you don't get real unlucky on your first or second job.
Yeah, like, assuming, like, let's say if you're gonna die on one of the jobs, maybe it's towards the end of your 5,200. Even if you did, and that would suck. But man, you've experienced the array of the workforce. And you've met so many people and done so many things. That kind of just sounds cool and potentially tragic, but cool.
Yeah, I'm down for that one. Jobs. All right, next. Would you rather have the power of immortality, but be forever trapped in the body of a 10-year-old, or have the ability to reincarnate into a new body every century, but lose all memories of your past lives? So if you're reincarnating... So the reincarnation one is basically just... You never...
It'd be as if you never lived before, and you're living again for the first time.
Every 100 years.
Every 100 years. You live a new life. Brand new life. I think immortality is overrated.
Yeah, why that this is I think this is a obvious reincarnate.
Yeah,
one.
because not
you're never gonna know that you even have the ability to reincarnate.
Right.
You're never gonna know that.
Right. Or
the entire time that you have this ability.
I mean, even if you did know, it's irrelevant because you're not gonna well, I guess you wouldn't know because you don't know after the first life, you don't know because you wouldn't reincarnate with the memory of having made that decision prior.
Right.
But either way, it's a moot point because I don't want to be immortal. So basically
and I don't want to be 10 years old.
And I don't want to be 10 years old.
Yeah.
So basically what this is saying is it's saying you as an entity, you as a person that thinks and breathes and moves and everything, get to live forever in essence. But you, in a way, get to experience it unlimited number of times.
I mean, who's to say if you reincarnate with no memories into a new body, if you have a new body and a new brain with no memory of a different person, you're not you anymore.
Well, the idea is you are you, but clean slate is essentially the way it works. What makes you you, and this is kind of getting into philosophy a little bit, but the essence of you, they have words for this, but like the living self of yourself continues to exist, but clean slate starting over. I assume reincarnating as a child, as a baby, So like you literally start from ground level and work your way back up. That's so much more of an attractive idea to me because in a way, you get to live forever, but it's not really living forever because it's a reset. But you as your essence, I want to make sure you're understanding me when I say this. You as your essence gets to live an unlimited number of times.
Even though
that's not meaningful because it resets.
Yeah.
You in your essence lives forever, but that living forever isn't technical immortality in the sense that technical immortality is, because I don't want to be immortal because that takes out the ambition to complete things in my lifespan.
And I certainly don't want to be immortal at 10 years old.
Either way, regardless of how you feel about the other one, the first option sucks. Because why would I want to be a 10 years old? 10-year-olds suck. They're trash.
Let's see what the top comment of this one is. The reincarnate one is functionally identical to a normal person's life. Yeah. You get born with no memories, then die.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exact. Yeah.
So basically, you as you live your life.
Would you rather? Yeah, this is basically. Would you rather live a normal last life, or be immortal, but always 10 years old?
Right.
And the answer is, I don't want to be immortal, and I don't want to be 10 years old, combined. I would rather just live a normal ass life.
Yeah, you live a normal ass life, and. But in a way, you get to experience all the lives.
But you don't.
But you do.
Experience. No, it's not.
Yes, you do.
Experience. No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
Experience. No, you don't. Experience is what the only thing that tells you have experienced something is your memory of it.
No, experiencing something is an experience.
But if you have no memory of it, and you're in a new body, not the body that experienced it, then no, you freaking haven't.
But you, in your consciousness, did experience it. You don't retain that. You don't retain that because it's been forgotten. But in essence, you get to live all those lives. You get to live them. You don't remember it just because somebody goes into a goddamn coma and comes out of it with amnesia. And everybody's like, "Oh, you went on a trip to this place." It's not like, "No, I didn't. I didn't do that."
But if he was in a different ass freaking body and a new brain and new memories, I would say, yeah, no, the hell he didn't.
I still think you do. I mean, the consciousness is, I myself, as I think and breathe and everything, not breathe, but that's function. That's physically functional. But I myself view the world in a certain way. I am myself. Just because I'm transferred into another body doesn't mean that I am now null and void. I am just in another body. Now, the memories have been severed and reset, but you are still living life over again, and you have lived life before. That's the idea of reincarnation. To reincarnate is to live life again.
Yeah, but one, reincarnation is a dumb concept.
Yeah, stupid. Everybody who likes that, stupid.
But so you're telling me if right now I experience recording this podcast and then I die and everything, including my brain and body and memories, is moved into a different brain and body and memories, you would still say this new brain and body and memories experienced recording this podcast?
You, in your essence, did in a previous life.
But it means absolutely nothing and amounts to absolutely nothing.
Correct. But you get to experience. You're getting way too hung up on the past part of what I'm saying. What I'm focusing on is the future of it. So you get to live a life without the immortality thing, where you have no ambition to achieve things because Life is endless and therefore meaningless. So you go forward and you do all this, and then you die, and then you reset, and then you live life over again in the essence that you are. And therefore,
which is what?
Which is your own consciousness. I'm not saying that memories and the ideas you have previously, but when you were born, you were born as yourself in the way you view the world, and you are interacting with the world and nobody else is. Your consciousness is instilled in the body you were born with. That happens again, and therefore you, as yourself, live life again.
Okay, how so what is okay, now we're just going to dive into something way bigger than ourselves that we can't even begin to articulate. What is consciousness? If my consciousness is implanted into a new body with new genetics, with new parents, with completely new circumstances, a new brain of a different size, with different IQ, what is to say my consciousness isn't going to be completely and utterly altered from what it was? Because this is not even just nature or nurture. This is literally like, do your own genetics affect how your consciousness is built over time? And if it does affect that, then your consciousness is still not the same as your previous life's consciousness.
Because you are using incorrect terminology. So you are saying what you experience and your genetics go into what your consciousness is. That's not your consciousness. That's just how your brain is and the way you think. When you were born, you are in your body. I am not in your body. I'm in my own body. I got my own shit going on.
I'm glad you're not in my body.
I would never be. Especially after you're arguing with me and being wrong the entire time. No.
And Dickless.
and Dickless from before. No. I'm not the person that occupies your body. You are the person that occupies your body. If you are reincarnated, you occupy a new body. The consciousness is what is.
But here, break down what you think the you is. Break that down. And don't just say consciousness, because that doesn't mean anything on its own.
It means what it is. Consciousness, in my uninformed, unintelligent view, is it is how I capture the world. Right? You see the world through your lenses, your eyes, and I see the world through mine. And that is consciousness.
So you think your definition of consciousness is simply how you capture the world.
How you interpret the world.
Entity.
This is not a physical concept we're talking about, or it's a physical concept that humanity doesn't understand.
Consciousness is not. Yeah, no one knows what consciousness is.
Consciousness clearly is something that exists, but humanity as a whole, not only do we not understand it, humanity doesn't understand it. And it's not, and like I just said, it's like how I view the world, the eyes that I view the world through. It has nothing to do with eyes, because people know that you can get an eye implant or whatever, or a donor eye.
Yes, we know that it's not physical.
It's not. It is to use Aristotle's words, it is the metaphysical properties that are how I view and capture and retain the world. And nobody else can in the way I do it.
The way that I understand how people view and capture and retain the world is what they've learned and how they've grown up just throughout life.
That's just somebody's experiences. That's not consciousness. Consciousness is the
experiences throughout your life is what build your view on how you take in the world. If you grow up and every car you've ever seen runs into somebody and they die, you're gonna you know where I'm going.
Yes,
with this.
I do, and it's dumb.
Your mom is dumb.
No, you better apologize. My mother's lovely. No. No, you're still not taking this. I'll say you're not saying this correctly. An objectively factually correct statement. Nobody is disputing that the experiences you live as you live them influence the way you think about the world. Obviously, that's why experiences are a thing. The experiences you live in the world do not necessitate the fact that I am the one in my body and you are not the one in my body.
Lay this out as a layering system. Lay this out as a layer. First layer is visual. You take it in through your eyes. Then it is processed through your brain, and that's the next layer. And the layer after that is your brain creates the thought process and assumptions and assessments from whatever you just saw. And those thought processes and assumptions and assessments are built upon years of living experience. Right?
Sure.
Where does consciousness slot into that layering
Because
system?
you start by being a thing that exists in the world that you can interact with those things that make the differences. Now, just because, like, if I live my life right now as myself and then die and get reincarnated as a monk in Siberia, my life is going to be a lot different, and the way I view the world is going to be a lot different, and my thoughts and my priorities are going to be incredibly different.
So what's going to be the same?
The fact that me is living.
Yeah, no. You can't just say that you are in a new body. That doesn't mean anything.
Yes, it fucking does.
No, it doesn't. If you transfer your consciousness from one body to the next, what is retained? With consciousness transfer, what is the same? What are the similarities? In two people that are completely different in every other way, where is the matching similarity? Because your personality is not going to be the same. So it's obviously a layer deeper than that. What is that? What's the same?
This is where I don't know how I can make this more clear for you. Like, I genuinely don't. And the reason, the moment you speak again, I'm stopping recording and closing all the windows I have, and I'm going in the other room because you shan't speak again. The reason it's difficult to articulate is because nobody understands consciousness. But
I get that.
What I'm saying to you right now,
you're acting like you know this pretty damn well.
Because I am explaining the essence of what the concept of consciousness is, and you are bastardizing it. I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm not. But what I'm saying is I don't know how to break this down any further. There is an entity. I have a person inside of me. Okay? That person is the consciousness of myself. If I am reincarnated, the one thing that gets carried over is the fact I'm looking in front of me right now. I look in front of me right now and I see this. I'm viewing this right now. It's right in front of me. Okay? If I transferred into another body, I could pick it up and see it. The same entity has seen the same thing. That's consciousness. You didn't see it. I picked this up, assuming that you can't see my camera, and you can't see this. I see this. You don't see that shit. Nobody else sees that shit. I see that shit. If my consciousness is transferred into another body, I am seeing the same thing.
Okay, but my argument is, if this new body that you have transferred into is different in every single conceivable, tangible way, then my argument is no, you actually haven't seen that shit. A different person did.
I would say that you are the same person because your essence is the same, but you are functionally a different person. That's where I'll meet you on this. You are in essence the same. You are functionally different. It's the ship of Theseus, right? So, are you familiar with the story of the ship of Theseus?
No.
So, roughly speaking, there's a ship, and one by one you replace one board every single time you replace it. I don't know, every day, whatever. You just swap out board one for one. After some time, every single board has been replaced with a new board. Is it the same ship?
So you could fit this concept into just about anything. A computer, if you change every single computer part in a computer, but only do it one at a time, is it the same computer as it was before?
Yeah, ship of Theseus is applicable in most arguments when it comes to changing things and swapping out of properties. My point.
No.
So you would say the ship of Theseus is not the same ship?
No, it's not. If someone
Okay, let me take it one step further. Before you speak again, you need to stop. Your skin sheds its skin cells once every several years, like over time.
Yeah.
It's and same thing with, I'm pretty sure it has same thing internally. The tissues regenerate into new tissues. Do you have the same body?
Okay, the word body encompasses a lot more than just your skin.
Do you have the same
So
skin?
yeah.
I guess.
Same skin? No. If you asked anybody in art, not even just like full replacements of one part, if someone has a painting and not even just a painting, just restorations of things, people say it's not the same thing. If you change out the components of something, it's not the same thing.
But I don't think that applies to the idea of consciousness, because we are arguing what is consciousness and does consciousness get transferred over. We're not swapping out consciousness. We're transferring consciousness. The rest of the body might be swapped out.
Yeah. And that's the components part. That's the boards of the wooden ship.
And maybe
part.
the ship of Theseus was a bad example because it takes into account the rest of the body. What I should have said was, you need to stop talking about the rest of the body. The rest of the body is irrelevant to what I'm saying. What I am saying is consciousness is being transferred, and therefore you are the same. Consciousness is the essence of you. And if the essence of you is being transferred, the essence of you has been transferred, and you are over here. That's words.
But the essence of me, functionally, to me, doesn't mean anything.
It would absolutely mean something to you if I took your consciousness, the essence of you, out and put myself in. Now I'm living your life with your body and your thoughts and your everything. Then it would mean a hell of a lot to you.
Okay, so would it though? If we, first of all, I'm going to get this out of the way. We are hypothesizing about things that people 100 times smarter than us know nothing about. So this is 100% hypotheticals, but if you and me swap consci right now, this swapped.
Got it.
But we still have the exact same everything else about us. So I'm the same person from when I was shot out of the vagina to now. But the only difference was our consciousness was swapped. What would the difference? What would change? What were the differences?
Because you would be in me and I would be in you.
No, but yeah, that's not the difference. What is the tangible difference personality, size, body, what IQ? What's the tangible difference? What happens? Does our personality change? Me being you and you being me is not tangible. What is the tangible difference?
When I wake up in the morning, I will wake up in your bed. That's the difference.
That is not. Okay, so we've come to a stalemate, and we don't know. It can't be answered, is basically where this is going.
I could do this for fucking hours. I'm being clear. I am the essence of me.
What do you mean you're being clear? You couldn't answer the freaking question.
I did answer the question. Me is me. My essence is what?
No, you could not answer the question of what the tangible difference of a conscious swap between my and your freaking fricks would be. What the tangible difference would be. You couldn't answer that.
You would exist within my body, and I would exist within your body. That's the tangible difference.
That's not tangible.
Yes, it fucking is.
Okay, how would that? What in day-to-day life would change because of that?
The fact that my body would be your body and your body would be my body. That's pretty freaking tangible, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Bro, I swear to God, are you continuing to not understand my words?
What happens because of a conscious swap? Memories change? Do I get fat and you get skinny? What happened? A consciousness swap is not. What would someone from the outside world see?
That me, as you see me right now, would be you.
Okay, so if we had a consciousness swap right now.
Did you hold on, back up. Did you just say when comparing the two of us that you would get fat and I would get, or that you would get fat and I would get skinny in the sense of a conscious swap? You wouldn't get fat and I would get skinny. We would be in different bodies.
So if we had a consciousness swap, so if we had a consciousness swap right now, I would walk out the door and your mother would say, "Wow, that's Ben. Why?" No. What would someone from the outside world see?
They would see no change.
Exactly, because there's no tangible change.
There's no
tangibility. Is a thing.
There's no physical change, but there is certainly a change.
Okay, there's no physical change. Is there a mental change?
Yes.
Like what?
Well, mental in the sense that
in terms of memories, in terms of IQ, in terms of
maybe
thought process, in articulation, in terms of
shut
what?
Your mouth. I might have jumped the gun on that. Yes, just a second ago. Let me think about that for a second. When we say mental, are we talking about the physical mental, like your brain mental?
Not. I know that the composition of your brain would be the exact same.
Correct.
Because the composition of everything of you would be the exact same.
Right. Correct.
So, cognition, what would be different? It wouldn't be memories, because the memories would be the exact same. If we had a consciousness swap, your essence inside of me would have the exact same memories and experiences as me.
Correct.
Growing up.
Because your brain acts like a hard drive of
Correct.
memory storage, and I would just be tapping into that hard drive.
Correct. And because my thought processes and articulations and assumptions of the world are built entirely upon my memories from a baby to now, those wouldn't be different either. Right?
I suppose.
I would still, exactly. So where is the change? And you can't just say I'm you and you're me, because that doesn't mean anything. Where's the change? You can't think of an answer, yet you're saying this is so simple and you can't lay it out any more clear.
Because the idea of consciousness is a very real idea.
Yes. Absolutely.
And what you're essentially...
I think consciousness is a real thing.
And what consciousness... The original question posed was you are reincarnated.
Correct.
You are reincarnated into a new body living a new life. So the act of reincarnating implies, well, reincarnation. And what that...
So I guess we're just right now down into the boiler room of what does that even mean? What does reincarnation even mean? If I were to ask someone that believes in a religion that believes in reincarnation, if I were to ask them this set of questions, what would they say?
I would say that they would probably say something along the lines of the essence of you gets transferred, which is what I've been saying.
Which what we're coming to the conclusion of doesn't mean anything.
I certainly did not come to that conclusion.
Well, you haven't had an argument for it yet, considering every aspect of who I am would still be the exact same if we had a consciousness swap.
Do you not get the idea of the fact that what I'm trying to do is not understanding what I want to say. What I'm trying to do is articulate it in a way that's different than thousands of other ways I've articulated this. Is what's happening.
Who's to say that consciousness is different from person to person? Consciousness can be one thing that just everyone has. It doesn't have to be a personality-based thing. Consciousness is a thing, but I don't think that it's a thing that is unique from person to person. And I considering no one even knows what it is, there's no real argument for it or against it. But that's what I'm saying here.
What in that argument then, what makes you and I different entities? If consciousness is strictly the same across the board, it is a foundation. What basically, essentially, what you're saying is consciousness is a foundation that is built upon, based on your experiences in your life.
The differences between you and me are hundreds and hundreds of years of different people's genetics all mixing together.
But why? But why? This is the thing that gets back to the heart of what is consciousness. But why are we separate things? Why are we separate? Why am I alive? That's really what it comes down to. Why is living? Why is consciousness awake? Why do I wake up in the morning and yeah, that's it. Why do I wake up in the morning? Maybe I shouldn't. Shit.
Maybe you should just stop.
Maybe this shit's overrated because I just get into an argument on a podcast for hours. It's overrated.
The difference between your essence and my essence, I think has nothing to do with consciousness. And I think it has to do with genetics, also has a lot to do with the brain and how your brain is built, and how your brain is built determines how you take things in and learn and interpret and IQ and whatever. And I think all of that is built from hundreds of years of genetics getting mixed together to make something, to make another thing, to make another thing, to make another thing. And eventually there's an infinite amount of genetic combinations going back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Consciousness doesn't have to be a factor to explain why everyone is so incredibly differently unique. Everyone can be so incredibly differently unique because everyone has a completely different mix of genetic come from hundreds of years ago.
There you go. It's all back to
and
come.
Hundreds of years of breeding.
Right.
I don't think consciousness needs to be a factor for that to be a reality.
So there's two camps of thought, right? That's what we've discovered. And maybe, and as far as my feelings on it, or maybe I'll save it to the end. But here's the two camps of thought. In one camp, you have consciousness is merely it is something. It is definitely something that exists that we don't understand. But it's the only thing that it is what enables life. But how consciousness is formed, and it's different, is purely genetics and experiences that form that consciousness and build upon it. And the second camp of thought is I am the essence that views the world through my own window.
Right. There's a consciousness that I think you're right. There's two camps. What you just mentioned.
Yeah.
There's a consciousness that is a blank slate that's built upon, which is what I think. I think consciousness is the same and it's just distributed against across everybody. And the real things that makes us unique are genetics over hundreds of years that build our brains different, or consciousness is a unique type of consciousness assigned per person.
And I want to be clear, when I am advocating for the other point, I am not saying that everything that I feel and think and over is built into my consciousness. What I'm purely saying is the fact. Let me think about this a minute. Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful with my words around you, or you might throw a fit. Now,
don't make me bring out the objectively in the consciousness topic.
I'm objectively right. That'd be bold of you to do, seeing as nobody knows what the answer are. Okay.
Yeah.
Why is my consciousness assigned to my body and yours to your body?
I don't think that's the right way to say that. Assigning your consciousness and assigning my consciousness assumes that our consciousness is different. How I think consciousness is quote unquote assigned is someone has a fistful of sand and they cast it all across ants. And all the sand is the same. And if it lands on an ant, that ant gets the consciousness. I don't think it's assigned. I don't think he picked out a specific piece of sand and put it on a specific ant. I think it's the same thing and everyone's got it.
But why?
But
why is mine different from yours? And in the way of hold on, let me finish this thought. Even though I understand, you probably understand where I'm going with this, but in the sense that I occupy my body and you occupy yours. Why is that different?
Because your entire existence is built on an entire existence of different genetics than mine, which built your brain in a different way, which built every ounce of you in a different way than me. So obviously we're going to fill our consciousness in a different way. The genetics that created me, because the formulation of a brain is a genetic thing. Genetics aren't just body problems and stuff. Genetics are IQ and processing speed and everything about how your brain is formed as well. And when we have hundreds of years of different bloodlines of genetics making a different mix of each of us, then of course there's not going to be, even if there's 8 billion people in the world, of course there's not going to be a single person that's the exact same as another person.
So to get back to the original question, reincarnation. Reincarnation to me implies something. Maybe it implies it incorrectly, but it implies that something can be transferred. Because that's what it is.
Right.
That's what reincarnation is, the transferring of something.
In my argument of consciousness is not a unique thing. It's just a thing that everyone has that is filled in differently by genetics. In that argument, the idea of reincarnation it doesn't exist because there is nothing being transferred.
But consciousness is something.
Yeah, it's something.
So wouldn't that get transferred? And that gets back to the question of what is that, which we don't know.
Well, if that's what's getting transferred, in my view of how consciousness is, which is the same for everybody, then what's getting transferred is nothing. It's the same. It doesn't matter if it's getting transferred or if you're getting a new slate because the consciousness is the same either way. But you're right. The idea of reincarnation means there is something retained from your past life that is there is some part. And that's why I don't think reincarnation is even actually a thing because
this gets right back to what I already said though. It just literally NASCAR looped back around. We're at the finish line here.
Yeah, I know.
So
we've gotten to the point where this is an exhausted argument, and I will summarize it. I believe consciousness is not unique from person to person. You believe it is, full stop. Therefore, your view would support the idea of reincarnation. My view does not.
I want to be clear that I don't believe in reincarnation in general as a concept that exists.
Yeah, but your view on how consciousness functions would be better for somebody who does believe in reincarnation.
But what it goes back to is the idea of, and this is where it started, the idea of I am me and I am me and you are you, essentially. And your example, your dumb example with the sand and the ants casting over.
Listen, it's best I could think of at the time.
The ant gets something. They get the sand.
Yeah.
That is,
but all the other ants get the same sand.
Something about, so even if our consciousnesses are the same, I'm playing into your argument, but extrapolating a different concept from it. Even if all consciousness is the same, something is different so that you are you and I am me. It has to be.
Something other than genetics in our brains.
Something non-physical, something completely devoid of physicality. Something
why do
has to be different.
Why does something have to be
I'm not saying it's different in the sense of like the consciousness is different necessarily, but
why does there have to be something that's different? We're already so insanely unique. Even if our consciousness is the same between every other person in the world, we're already so mind-blowingly unique per person because of the whole genetics thing that I just said. Why does there have to be something?
Well, let me be clear. I don't think there has to be because I want there to be. what we're arguing now, I think, is just words and how words are applied. And honestly, I think that's how most of our arguments come down to. Most of our arguments come down to you and I disagree on how to apply words in specific situations. Because I agree with you in that I think that consciousness is something that's built upon, and it's not necessarily intrinsically unique, but
You think there's something else there?
there is something that ties myself.
Like a soul. You think there's like a soul?
That's basically what I've been coming at this entire time. Is maybe, and I never used that word. Pause. I have paused.
I said pause because you said you've been coming at it this whole time.
Oh, I thought you were saying pause. You need to stop talking.
No. So you think, okay, so so now we're on to the idea of, so that's this other thing that we're now on, the soul.
Maybe that's where I'm coming from, because there is an essence of why I exist here and you exist there. There's to me, there's maybe not tangible is not the right word, but there is a difference.
Yeah.
And if
I don't think there's anything tangible about a soul.
There's nothing. There's not a damn thing that's tangible. But if you're going to use the terminology, you are transferred to somewhere.
You would say I think a soul is probably a more appropriate term for a reincarnation than a consciousness.
Well, let's look it up, because maybe I just conflate those words.
See, I don't think a soul exists. I don't buy into the idea of humans having a soul. I think we're just flesh mammals. But we are the ones that uniquely have a consciousness, unlike other animals for some reason. But yeah, I don't think a soul is a thing.
Okay, I'm not looking it up there. I'm not looking it up at r/true Christian.
Well, that's going to be a pretty biased.
I don't want a biased answer.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with Christians, but that's a religious structure that I don't want to derive an answer.
It's an obvious bias there. But then you could say, if you're looking for something obviously non-religious, there's an obvious bias against it.
Right. Sure.
This is something. How do you look this up in an unbiased way? I don't know.
I guess really what it boils down to, and what I circled the drain with 20 times already, is that in my opinion, right? So if you're gonna say, "Oh, consciousness is a blanket, is a blanket thing that's applied across the board," that to me, in my mind, and maybe incorrectly, applies the existence of like a hive mind, because consciousness is one thing, but consciousness clearly isn't one thing, because it's so vastly, because it's not different. Because you're going to say it's because of experiences, genetics. I'm specifically not talking about that. What I'm talking about is consciousness is different for every person that has it. You are you, I am me, my dog is my dog, right? There are different entities that dwell in that spot. Different awarenesses. There's another word. Different awarenesses. You don't see the world through my eyes, and I don't see the world through yours. My dog certainly doesn't see the world through either of ours.
Certainly not.
Different awarenesses. So if you were to transfer the awareness, my awareness would go elsewhere. Does that mean anything in the form of reincarnation? No, practically it means nothing, because it'd be different. You would have different structures and ideals and genetics. But at the end of the day, I am transferring my own awareness through that. And this is my whole point from the beginning, I live life again because I am aware here and I would be aware there. Not of my past, but I have a level of, I am aware in the sense that I am viewing and interacting with the world. There's something to that.
When you say that, I say I don't think that there is anything to that. I don't think that there is yeah.
I mean, and that's fine if you don't think that there's anything there. That's totally fine.
I'm curious. I'm curious as to what. God, this is why I wish people actually listen to this. I'm curious as to people that are actually really smart.
Nobody that's smart would ever listen to this.
No. So we're shooting ourselves in the foot here. But maybe someone that's listened to this knows someone's smart. What would they think the idea of consciousness and a soul?
Because it boils down, like we said, and I'll take it maybe a step further or just a step differently. It boils down to a couple camps. It's in this particular instance that we just talked about. Either consciousness is nothing, and all you are is genetics and experiences thrown into a bowl.
Which we know that's not true. Consciousness is certainly a thing.
Then what is consciousness to you? Then what is it to you? Because I just told you what it is to me. What is it to you?
To me, I think everyone has the same consciousness the moment they start to exist. And I think that consciousness becomes filled in with...
Okay. Oh, you can continue if you want, but I have an interjection, should you want to hear it.
Interject.
Okay. If you and I were born at the same exact microsecond, right? We're both emerging from the vagina, separate vaginas, I will add, at the same exact moment. Where are you?
In a damn hospital?
Okay,
what are you asking?
I didn't
here?
articulate that. You and I are emerging from the vaginas at the same time. You are clearly in your baby body. And I am clearly in my baby body. We just emerged. There's no experiences to take in other than genetics, I'll give you that. But
yeah,
why are you genetics aside? I mean when we talk about genetics, all we're talking about is what your body is going to morph into, or what your brain chemistry down the road is going to. I mean, obviously there's brain.
No. There's no down the road. Genetics are immediate from as soon as the freaking sperm swims into the egg.
But here's the thing: is I'm not talking about the mental and physical differences that make up the human body. I'm asking the question of, if we're emerging at the same fucking moment, why are you coming from your mother's vagina and why am I coming from mine? That's the entire question.
Because I am the culmination of my mother and father and their mothers and fathers and their and
why
their, and so
are
on.
you the why is your essence tied to that genetic code? And moreover, why
there is no me essence tied to
that's what a consciousness is.
How do you know what the hell a consciousness is?
Because I have Google.
Now you think we know what consciousness is after all this?
I know what the word is, and I know what the word what. Oh, that's not the right word. I looked up conciseness.
Conciseness.
Consciousness. The state of being awake and aware of one's surroundings. Why are you aware in the body you are aware in? And why am I aware in the body that I am aware in? Awareness.
Because we both have the same consciousness. If the way I see this, I don't know anything, but the way I see this is we both have the same consciousness as soon as your dad's sperm hits your mom's egg and my dad's sperm hits my mom's egg. We have the same consciousness. But as soon as the genetic code starts to take effect, which is instantly...
See, that's... But what you just said about us having the same consciousness, implying that we have the same consciousness, implies that we are the same thing. We have the same awareness, which we don't.
Because we don't, because we have totally different brains from totally different genetic codes that are written with a totally different genetic makeup that experience totally different things in life.
You know what your problem is?
That is why we're different.
Let me tell you what your problem is. Here's your problem. You ready to hear what your problem is?
What? I'm ready to hear.
Maybe you should grab a notebook because you got some fucking problems. You know what your problem is? Your problem is that you don't like philosophy. Because what this comes down to...
I do like philosophy. What do you mean?
What? No, here's why. No, I'm not done telling you about yourself. The reason you don't like... the reason this is such a problem for you is because you don't like arbitrary philosophical discussion. You want to put something tangible behind it, which is fair. That's fair. But what I'm saying is the concept that I'm discussing is completely non-tangible. Non-tangible.
I don't think consciousness is a tangible thing. I agree with you.
But what I'm saying in this completely non-tangible discussion is that consciousness cannot be shared and can never be shared. Because consciousness is the fact of being solely aware of your own existence. That is consciousness. Consciousness is being aware of your own existence, and it cannot be shared across the board. And it cannot be a blanket thrown across to ants like sand. It can't.
I believe at birth it can be.
But that null and voids the definition of consciousness.
I think the definition of consciousness does not single out anybody. It doesn't mean... The definition of consciousness said being awake and aware of your surroundings, correct? Being awake and aware of your surroundings.
Right, and being aware of one's surroundings. But if I am aware of my surroundings, that is my consciousness.
Correct.
And that consciousness is different than yours.
Because we are different human beings.
Yeah!
With different brains.
Consciousness,
Well, how is this so hard to understand?
Ditto. How is this so hard to understand? Consciousness is the act of understanding that you are alive. You are aware of your surroundings.
Correct.
So if I am aware of my surroundings, that is my consciousness.
Correct.
And you are aware of your surroundings, and that is your consciousness.
Correct.
And those are separate.
Yes. If I have this mouse, but you also go out and buy this mouse, they are different mice.
Correct. Because they are different. Because they are different things.
But they're the same.
But they're different.
Mouse. Yes, they are different. And you know why they're different? Because you grip your mouse differently and put oils on it differently and have it on a different pad and it's in a different air environment. That's why they're different. Because their environment and the things that brought them up to be are different, but they're the same thing.
But if consciousness is the act of understanding that you are yourself, and that's what it is, then that is intrinsically different and therefore something that can be transferred in the sense of a reincarnation. Should that be a thing that exists, which it's probably not, which it might be. I don't fucking know. I'm just I said that very clearly, like, oh, reincarnation isn't real, but there are a lot of people that believe that's real, and good for them for believing things. Then continue. But yeah, if I am me and aware of my own surroundings, and that is what consciousness is the fact that I am my own essence, and I'm my own awareness, that necessitates the property that is intrinsic to my own self.
Yes, because there's no one else on the planet that is exactly like you. You are your own self. No one else is exactly like you. No one else was created with the exact sperm shot with the exact egg that made you.
What this comes down to, once again, is words. Because I think you and I more or less agree on this. I genuinely do think. I think
I think this is one of the things we've disagreed on the most in a while.
What I think is going on here is that, much like last episode, we are putting emphasis in different areas in the same argument. You are putting emphasis on the experiences and the genetics that make a person unique to themselves, and I am putting emphasis on the fact that I'm honestly just putting.
You think we're assigned a unique consciousness, is what you're saying.
But what I don't think is that we are assigned a unique personality. I need you to make sure that you understand that that's not my argument.
Right, but you think even from the moment of conception, your conscious, if we both are conceived at the exact same millisecond,
yeah,
you believe from that millisecond we already have a different consciousness, is what you think.
Yes, because I am aware. I mean, I'm not at conception, but right.
I don't think that. That is not a disagreement of words. That is a fundamental disagreement in how we see things.
And I don't know how you can come to that conclusion.
I don't know how you could come to your conclusion. The only way I can see you come to your conclusion is by us being assigned different consciousness at the moment of conception. Is well, honestly, I don't really understand how either of us could come to either of these conclusions because, consciousness.
I'm not saying it's like some divinity thing. Like I'm not saying it's some divine nature. It could be very well. I mean, that's a lot of people also believe that. But what I'm not saying. What I'm saying is something that we don't understand takes place at the moment of conception or later down the road with development or whatever. I don't know. Somewhere in that process that, like you said, if we are conceived at the same exact moment, you are in your body and I am in mine. That's right. The difference.
You think at the moment of conception already, before anything except genetics can take effect, you are already you and I'm already me.
Right, because
I also believe that, but I only believe that because we are made with a different egg and a different sperm cell. Not because we have different assigned consciousness. Let's
peel it back a little bit, right? It's like
we're peeled back pretty damn far at this point.
We're at the beginning of existence already. Yeah, can we go further?
How peel this back even further? I don't know how.
What I'm not talking about is genetics that influence the way my brain operates. Obviously, that's different. Obviously. And that's going to continue to be things throughout my life that are influenced by my own genetics.
Yes.
But why am I where I am and you are where you are? As far as awareness goes, and I'm not talking about sperms and eggs and bullshit. I'm talking about consciousness at some point in time it poofs into existence one way or the other. But I am within my own consciousness, and you are within your own. And it can happen at the same exact moment in the instance of people being conceived at the same moment.
Okay,
what's the distinction?
So what do you think, if we had a way to have an exact genetic makeup of an egg and an exact genetic makeup of a sperm cell and then duplicate it, and these exact genetic copies of a sperm cell and an egg matched, they would create the exact same genetic human. Do you think they would have different consciousness? Do you think they would grow up if they, let's take this further. Exact same genetic, this isn't possible to create an exact same sperm cell and an exact same egg and duplicate it. But hypothetically speaking, if that were possible to create a literal exact genetic copy of a human, not even just twins, but a literal exact genetic copy, and then those two humans grew up in the literal exact same way. Let's just say there's two worlds where this is happening. One on one world, one on another. They grow up in the exact same way. Everything, down to the millisecond, is exactly the same. Are they different? Do they have different consciousness?
Yes, 1,000%. Because
I disagree. I think they are going to be the exact same person.
So what? That is quite physically impossible. Because, and let me tell you why. Because if this is happening on two separate worlds, right? If one person moves their arm on one world, does the other person move their arm at the exact same moment on the other? The answer to that question is no. Because because
I said yeah in response to your no.
Yeah, and I reaffirmed your opinion as being correct for finally.
Oh.
Finally something correct was said by you.
I'm still waiting to hear it from you.
You're about to. So if something's happening on two separate worlds or in the same world or whatever, and somebody moves or somebody says something or whatever, and the other person doesn't say that same thing at that same exact moment, they are not the same consciousness. Because consciousness is the act of being aware of yourself. If somebody else elsewhere is the exact same genetic makeup, but they are not doing the same things, and you as the person aware are not controlling their actions or seeing the world through their eyes.
Okay. Wait. Let's cut this short then. Okay, the two worlds, two people, exact genetic makeup, exact same life experiences. Functionally, they are the exact same person. Let's say they both exactly get on a spaceship at exactly the same time and meet up in the middle of space at exactly the same time. They then exactly meet up with each other. The way I see this, yes, they are two alive beings.
Right.
Independent of each other.
Sure.
From this moment on. But everything about them, from their personality to their essence to they don't have one consciousness shared. They have two separate consciousness that are identical.
But they intrinsically have to be different. Because one is with someone.
Okay,
one is with one and one is with another.
Wait.
I'm waiting.
Okay. So these consciousnesses,
one of these days you're going to say it right.
The two people with the same consciousness, they meet up. Everything about their lives has been exactly the same to this point.
Sure.
They have the exact same consciousness. No, well, they don't have one consciousness shared. They have both individual consciousness, but it's identical. As soon as one of them does something different from the other, immediately they now have a different consciousness because one of them has now lived a different life experience from the other. Which has. So do you agree that before these two people met up, they would have an identical consciousness? Not
is
one
okay
shared, but two consciousness between the both of them, but it's the same. It's identical.
Let's look at one person in this example. If that one person, can that one person control the actions of the other? Are they aware?
This is not magic. There's no magic here. They're still people. This isn't some magical thing. No.
Then if the one person can't control the actions of the other and they do not see the world through their lenses and their body, then absolutely not. That is not the same. That has never ever been the same conscious. But
No. Not the same consciousness. They have their own you're not hearing me. They have their own independent consciousness, but it's identical. Up until the point where they meet and one of them does something that the other doesn't.
I don't think you can have an identical conscience if it's
okay.
Not
You
the
can't
same.
have two worlds with the same genetic code either. This is a hypothesis.
This is as a matter of fact, this is a hypothetical.
Yes, a hypothetical. This is a mental exercise. The two people are genetically the same. Their life experience is exactly the same. Everything is exactly the same. Nothing about them is different in any conceivable or inconceivable way until they meet up with each other and one of them does something that the other doesn't. Before that point, they have their own separate there's two consciousness split between the both of them. One has one, another has another, but the consciousness is identical between the both of them. Do you agree or disagree?
I would just say that what you just described is two people with two separate consciousnesses living the exact same life. There is no connection between them.
So you still think their consciousness would be different?
They would have.
You don't think it would be identical?
They would have to be.
No, why would they have to be?
Because one person does not control the both of them. Consciousness is the state of being aware of your own self.
No, you're still not getting what I'm saying, Fisher.
I feel like I just literally I went to a college to study what you just said, and I aced the test, and I still came out wrong. Is what I feel like just happened.
No, you aced the wrong ass test. You're still thinking that I'm saying it is one consciousness shared between the both of them.
No, you said it is two consciousnesses that are identical. And I said that you can't have two consciousnesses that are identical, or if you can have identical experiences and identical genetics, but you cannot have identical consciousnesses ever.
Why?
Because it's the state of being aware of your own self. If two people...
Yeah, and they're both aware of their own selves in the exact same way.
It doesn't matter if it's in the same exact way. It's two separate entities.
Yeah, it's two separate entities with two separate consciousness that are identical. It's two things, but they're the same as each other.
They can't be the same. Because...
Why not?
Because regardless of the fact that everything's quote unquote the same, if it's taking place in a different space of time or a different place in general, then it's different. It's always different.
How?
Because it's not the same thing.
How? Okay. If I say it's different, how is it different?
You need to
because
shut your fucking mouth.
You just described the definition of different. How is it different?
I created a room, right? There's two rooms right next to each other. In the room, they look identical, and in the middle of that room, there is a cup. Okay? And then there are two people with the same exact whatever bullshit genetics, fucking consciousness, whatever. But not consciousness because that's not a thing. Whatever. One of them walks into the room and picks up the cup. And the other one hasn't done that yet.
So they're different. Immediately, they have different life experiences at different times.
And
they're different.
And let me take this a step further to satisfy you. Because all I care about is satisfying you. These two people...
Well, I don't got a dick no more, so that's...
These two people walk into these two rooms at the same exact time and do the same exact motions on the way up, and they both got a little wobble in their step. Whatever you want to call it to further sweeten the pot of these people are totally identical down the road. And they both pick up the cup at the same exact time. They picked up two different cups. Those cups are different.
Yes.
And therefore, they are doing different things. It doesn't matter if it looks identical. It is different. It is different. Functionally the same. This is we keep getting this hang up right here. This is the hang up of many hang ups. The difference between something that we can't understand and something tangible and functional. Functionally, those two people are having the same exact experience, but they aren't. It is different because it's a different cup. Because it's a different room. Because they are different. They have different people with different consciousnesses, identical or not, or identical experiences or not. Because I don't think they have identical consciousnesses, regardless. But they might have the same experiences identically, but they are different people picking up different cups.
I still don't see how that disputes the argument of them having separate consciousness but identical.
Because one person is going through, if these two rooms in my hypothetical situation are one's on the left and one's on the right, Stanley Parable style, right? One of them went into the room on the left and one of them went into the room on the right. It is different.
Okay, so if this is a difference that is perceived by them, then yes,
perception doesn't matter.
They are immediately different.
Perception doesn't matter.
Perception is everything. Absolutely matters. Perception is everything.
That's
you kidding me?
Perception doesn't matter in this particular situation. They are functionally living identical lives.
Okay, so what you're saying is they're perceiving the exact same.
They are perceiving the exact same thing.
Okay,
but it
so
is
yes,
different.
Perception does matter.
Yeah. I'm not saying that the way they interact with the world doesn't have some sort of meaning, but in the realm of discussing what is consciousness, the way humans perceive things is irrelevant. Actually, it is the only important thing. Let me take that back. Perception is the only important thing in this conversation because we don't understand, and therefore our perception is the only thing we can speculate upon. But I digress. The hypothetical people in these situations, how they perceive their own existence only matters so much that the perception is different from somebody else's, in that it's one's perceiving the room on the right and one's perceiving the room on the left, and therefore it's different. Regardless of if they know.
But I would still argue that they have separate consciousness that is identical.
They have identical.
Yes.
They have identical experiences, not consciousnesses. Conscious.
But I believe consciousness is 100% what genetics and experience is. Consciousness is filled by whatever genetics and experience you have.
Consciousness is purely the fact of being aware of your own self. These people are two separate people.
And they're both separately aware of their own separate self.
Correct. And that is the distinction. Nothing else.
No. But it's not a distinction. They're both aware of their own separate self in the exact same way.
Correct.
They're doing it exactly the same.
Sure. That's fine. That doesn't dispute anything.
Except the fact that they have separate consciousness that are identical.
But their consciousness...
They both can separately identify themselves in their own time and space, but it's in the exact same way. Therefore, their consciousness is identical.
Because one person is doing something differently than the other.
But they're not. They're doing it exactly the same.
In that one person is going to the room on the left and one person is going to the room on the right. Doesn't matter if they know about the other room. It's a different room, different experience. Same functionally.
But not different experience.
It's the same functionally.
Experience is perception.
And consciousness is only dependent on perception, in that the self-awareness of it.
Yes.
Therefore,
if their experience is exactly the same, it doesn't matter if one's on room left and room right. Because their experience, which is their perception, which builds their consciousness, is identical.
No,
Yes,
no.
they are different people. Yes, they are different people in different rooms. And they are doing.
You did
picking
it
up a
again.
different cup.
You did it again. You did it again. Experience builds consciousness. Consciousness is strictly the fact of they are aware that they exist and they walk into a room. Doesn't matter if they know about the other one. They walk into a room and somebody else walks into a room. They walked into two separate rooms. Therefore,
different rooms.
Therefore, the consciousness is different. It doesn't matter about the experience that is building upon it. Because
so you're saying that these two people are experiencing the same perceptions in every way, but their consciousness knows that one's in room left and one's in room right? Their consciousness knows that?
It doesn't matter what knows what. It is different intrinsically.
No, it doesn't. There needs to be a reason that would split the two apart. There needs to be a differentiating factor. No, you're saying the differentiating factor is one is in left room and one is in right room, picking up left cup and right cup. Therefore, they are different, correct?
More or less, yeah.
That's what your differentiating factor is,
because
right?
they just did two separate things and are aware.
Yes or no? Is that your differentiating factor?
What I'm saying to you right now, I'm not going to answer a yes or no question. I don't live by I don't live by your rules. What I'm saying is consciousness is purely the idea of being aware of your own self. And these people are aware of their own selves walking into a room to pick up a cup. Doesn't matter.
Yes.
They are aware of themselves. They don't have to be aware of the other consciousness, but they are separate.
Yes.
And it doesn't.
You're saying you keep repeating yourself in all the same ways that I agree with.
And it doesn't matter if you dressed them up in the same goddamn clothes and the same genetics and the same experiences and whatever. Yes. It does not matter. They are two separate entities experiencing the world separately, and that is a separate consciousness. And I don't know what we're arguing out beyond that.
That the consciousness is identical. That is what we were arguing.
And a consciousness cannot be identical because it is split. It's not only is it split, it never interacted. Why not? What was the question? Why not what?
Why can a consciousness not be identical because it is split?
Well, first of all, I don't think a consciousness can be split in theory. But the reason it can't be identical is because consciousness is the act of, and I've said this like 20 times already, is the act of being aware of your own self.
That doesn't explain anything. That does not clarify anything. Anything.
I think it just it clarified everything, actually.
No, it doesn't.
What are you still confused about?
There is no confusion here.
I think there's some confusion.
No.
Are you about to tell me you're objectively right?
You think consciousness cannot be the exact same as another person's consciousness.
Correct.
Therefore, identical. You think it cannot be identical because each person has to be aware of their existence.
Because people are aware of their own existence.
Yeah. Okay, so each person is aware of their own existence. But they don't have to be aware of the other one's existence, correct?
Sure, that's not a necessity.
Okay. Therefore, why can these two people not be aware of their own existence independently? If they are both aware of their own existence independently, and all other infinite genetic and life factors are exactly the same, they are aware of their own existence independently. What differentiates their consciousness?
The fact that one consciousness walks it through the left and one walks through the right.
But your consciousness is built on your perception of your experiences through life and your genetics. And these two people's Do you agree? Well, first of all, do you agree with that?
The way you just explained it, I don't think so.
You don't think your consciousness is built by
Because
or should I should say, you don't think your consciousness is shaped by your perceptions of your experiences and your genetics?
Consciousness doesn't need to be shaped. Consciousness is just the fact that you are yourself. Your mental capacity and your mental state and how you live your life can be shaped an infinite number of ways. But the fact that I am me.
Okay. Wait. Pause. So you think consciousness, from the moment is it instilled in you at conception, or wherever it is instilled in you, stays exactly the same from that point to the point you die? It is never changing.
In so much that I don't leave my own body, and I'm not aware of somebody else's body and live through their body. And I continue to be aware of my own existence, yes.
So you think, okay, so let's just say the soul is you. So you think the consciousness that doesn't change from instillment to death is basically the soul, because that is what you are.
I mean, no, I would say it's the consciousness, because I am aware of myself. I'm just going by the definition. Soul, I don't really know what a soul is either. That's just another word.
Well, you also have been arguing that the consciousness is what makes you you, not just that it makes you aware of yourself.
No, what I only ever meant, and again, maybe I explained this wrong, and maybe I even said it wrong, I don't know. But what I only ever meant was my consciousness is what makes me me. That's right. That's correct. Yeah, my consciousness is what makes me exist in my own body, and not somebody else's. I am aware of my own existence and view the world in my own surroundings from within my own body, because my consciousness exists in my body, or with my body, or however you want to phrase that.
Okay, so you're saying your body is a factor of your consciousness.
Because we don't have the technology or really, it's not even a technological problem. We don't have the understanding of what consciousness is to transfer that somewhere else. Consciousness doesn't exist in the brain. Now, I'm not telling you this like I think you don't understand this. You and I would both understand. Consciousness doesn't exist in the brain. Somebody can get a brain transplant and somebody else's consciousness is not instilled in that person's body. It's something non-physical.
Do we know that?
To my understanding. Because people fucking, I'm sure, have had brain transplants and not come out saying, my name's George, when they were something else.
I don't know if that's actually ever happened. A full brain transplant?
Let me look it up. I don't actually know. I would just...
Surely that's never actually happened.
First human head transplant. World's first human head transplant successfully performed on a corpse.
A corpse?
What the fuck?
So were they alive or were they dead? For this argument, we needed them to be alive before and then alive after.
Well, okay, I'm not coming to a clear consensus.
I don't think that's...
World's first head transplant...
I don't think that's ever happened. If we're talking a person is alive with their own brain, and then a surgery removes their brain and inserts a different brain, and then they are still alive, I don't think that's ever happened.
I'm reading a comment on a video about this guy, and they said he literally changed his mind. Regardless, what I was getting at, and maybe I'm wrong because we don't really have the data for that, but what my assumption would be, I'll phrase it that way. My assumption would be if you did a full brain transplant or even a full head transplant, you're not moving consciousness because, maybe we don't know the answer to that question.
I think if we knew, that's such an obvious answer.
I think if we knew the answer to that question, that would narrow down what the consciousness is.
Yeah, it would. I don't think it would tell us what it is, but it would certainly narrow down where we might be able to find it.
So if you hooked up a brain to a functioning body that could access that brain, and the brain wasn't brain dead, would that person? The question is. Here's the question. Would the person's head that got put onto the body work again? And they would just be like, oh yeah, this is me and my experiences. Or would they be like, or would they be a separate consciousness that is accessing the same mental capacity, the same histories and whatever? Or would it be none of the above and something else? That would put a pretty clear answer on where is consciousness, what is it?
Yeah, I don't think there's an answer for that.
Regardless, I think
we're never going to get to the bottom of this, and we're 2 hours in.
Exactly. Here's what I think, and this is to close it out. What I think is we don't have the answers to that, and you and I have fundamental disagreements. And I will say this, I'll extend it to this point. My mind is subject to change on this point, especially if we ever get further information. I think both of our
minds are subject to, if we're exposed to new or factual information that we didn't prior know about, I think we're both pretty malleable with something like this.
I like to think that the way I feel about this right now is not too heavily influenced by religious opinions. I'm just thinking I'm more just coming from the idea of words and how words work and how.
See, that's one thing I was thinking in going through this I was thinking your view on consciousness was a more religious based view of it.
See, I don't.
And that everyone's unique and everyone has their own soul and that everyone is that kind of view of it.
I don't think that. I don't think that it's tied to the fact that I want people to be unique or have a religious motive for people to be unique. It's more of a consciousness as a word implies certain things. And what it implies to me is an intrinsic separate kind of self. Now if it's just a way that humans have come up with ways to classify different people or different things, then maybe that's the case. But I don't think I'm viewing this from a necessarily religious standpoint because I want to say that it's mainly just about words. And if we're going to believe words mean things like consciousness, it has to be applied in the way that I'm talking about or not. That was a very convoluted sentence.
Yeah, that was a bit run-on-y.
Yeah. Well, let's close this out. We've certainly gone on long enough. Let us know what you think about, I mean, any of the questions that we talked about, but certainly the consciousness question. That is something that I really didn't expect to go down that deep of a rabbit hole for. That is an interesting question.
Me neither. I was never anticipating a literal argument over something that we literally and figuratively straight up cannot have the definitive answer to.
Yeah, no, that's
because no one does.
That's crazy. But just kind of like with the last episode, who's right? Because we both feel very strongly. And here's the real answer. Before you even comment your own opinion, here's the correct answer. We're probably both wrong.
Yeah.
It's generally how these things go.
Because we're both idiots.
Yeah. And that's just the way it's going to have to be. Well, anyway, thank you guys for listening. We will catch you in the next one. Peace out.
See ya.